Good morning. We have an active pattern coming in on the West Coast here beginning today and through the next several days, with especially heavy snow and rainfall in the next couple days along the California coast. To give a further zoom out here, you can see the streamy moisture on shore. System exiting the East Coast. We had some snow this morning, drier area in the southeast, but the big story for the short term and mid to long term is the flow right off the atmospheric river we got going on here. See this moisture streaming up into California with a upper level low, mid level low, driving that moisture and surface low on shore here, right? And up the California coast. So, welcome to my channel. And like I said, good morning. It's President's Day, so I'm off today, starting the video a little late. Appreciate you all watching. Like my video if you like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And if you feel compelled, there's a couple links to donate in the description below. Also, if you have any comments, questions, I'll be happy to answer them and put them in the comments below as well. And we'll get started with the current hazards next. Well, we got a lot going on here with current hazards. Um, wow. Uh, Winter storm watch up into North Carolina, not North Carolina, North Dakota, um, Minnesota, and Montana here, and a lot of different winter storm warnings, high wind warning, high wind watch, red flag warnings, all kind of wind related and winter weather related hazards going on today. In addition to flooding along the west coast here, California coast, winter storm warnings all over the place here in California, Oregon, um, winter winter weather advisories, Idaho, um, Arizona, New Mexico, not really New Mexico, Utah, and Colorado as well. And on the front range here, you have this red flag warning with potential for fire. Um, just the low humidities with the winds coming over the Rockies and then drying as they descend, and high winds here in this area. If you try to burn today and the next several days, you got a real problem. I would avoid that if all possible here. And to the east here, we got a lot of dense fog, with warmer temperatures and moisture trapped at the surface. So keep that in mind when traveling today. So temperatures this week are going to warm quite significantly in middle Georgia and most of Georgia anyway. These are the highs and lows for Metro Atlanta through the week, reaching almost 80 degrees on Friday, and for lows in the 60s on Friday and almost Thursday night here. You see how warm that is. And these could be reached near record temperatures towards the end of the week. So quite a big change, continuing to warm up, with a cool down expected in between and warm back up again towards the end of the month. Today, high in the 60s, no precipitation expected. Tonight, highs in the 40s, lows in the 40s, excuse me, to upper 30s, depending where you're at here, with no precip expected. And tomorrow, warming up some, highs in the low 70s in the far southern part of the state and mid 60s in the north, with no precipitation expected. So yeah, the 15-day temperature outlook shows the warm up here towards the end of this week and cooling off some through the weekend into the beginning of next week, and then warming up again through the beginning of March really, way above normal temperatures for lows, um, maybe 25 degrees above average when we get towards the end of the week for lows, maybe reaching a low high, record low maximum here. Then cooling off some overnight here as we cool off during the day, and then it warms up again. Like I said, towards as we move towards the middle beginning of March here. So as far as excessive rainfall, it's all centered in California. Next couple days. Day one, excessive rainfall look shows a slight risk all the way up to Monterey, all the way down to almost San Diego here, with a larger marginal risk all the way up to San Francisco, um, and points to the west here, but just right along the coast as uh, the system moves on shore here. For tomorrow, this threat persists with a marginal risk of at least 5%. So this is within 25 miles of a point. So um, probability of exceeding rainfall leading to flash flooding, right? We talk about this all the time, but I wanted to share that. So this is from tomorrow, Tuesday, right? So keep this in mind. A lot of people are probably off today because it's a holiday, but tomorrow, if you're traveling, be mindful of this. This severe weather outlook for today. We have a marginal risk of severe weather right along the California coast here, with thunderstorms possible all along the west coast in parts of Utah, Arizona, Nevada, and up into Michigan here, interestingly enough. All right, so what's driving this? We have a low risk of tornadoes along the west coast today, high winds here as well, and hail. No hail risk, so just tornado and wind today. So be mindful of that. Tomorrow, I don't know what's going on with this map. It's kind of bugging out on me here. Tomorrow, we have a slight risk of thunderstorms here in Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota, just barely northwest Nebraska, all on the west coast here. For some reason, that other little risk area is stuck here on the map. For day 3, we still have some thunderstorms possible along the west coast here, parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, New York State, Michigan, Wisconsin, parts of Wisconsin, and northwest Ohio. Then we go to day 4. This is what we're, concerned about most here is 50% risk already highlighted this far out is important to keep in mind. And, this far, 4 days out, the SPC has some good confidence in this occurring. So we'll be tracking this in the coming days and see how it all works out here. So in the short range, what are we looking at? Well, this is a HRRR, right? And to begin with, we got the system moving off the East Coast, which we know about, right? This is, let's go to 12Z. Let's load this, right? It's already moved offshore. And along the West Coast, as we begin this period, you see the moisture crashing in along the West Coast here, all the way up into Oregon and not Wisconsin, Washington State, right? Moves on shore, maybe some severe weather down here, just a lot of moisture and unsettled weather. Isobar is tightly packed here, some high winds along the west coast here. That moisture moves to the east. You see right along the side of the edge of this boundary where we'll have some snowfall here and more unsettled weather along the west coast. Maybe some snow up into the northeast. You can see when we get further out with this, what happens. This low gets strung out. You have this boundary that sets up here with high pressure up to the north. Snow, freezing rain, sleet, and some rainfall on the southern side of it. There may be some heavy rain here right in the Midwest. And this is Wednesday, right? So this is 48 hours out. Maybe some showers here in the south, but not looking too likely here. As far as data 3 to 7 U.S. hazards, we have high winds possible here, and we discussed this in the fire weather outlook. My discussion today, this will bring potential for high winds, right, and low humidities, and extreme fire danger here in the coming days. Heavy snow and freezing rain possible on the 8th and the 18th, which is today's the 16th on Wednesday. High winds here in parts of southern Alaska the 20th through the 22nd here. So we got a problem out west out here. Fire weather today is on the increase, very dry, with winds just not that high, but 15, 20 miles per hour. Relative humidities reaching 11 to 20% here. Let me bring my pen up here. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's see, get this going. Here we go. All right, so yeah, see this area all the way down here. Humidity levels are going to be really low, right? So we go till tomorrow. Let's take this off. It goes away. You see the winds are going to be even higher tomorrow. Winds 30, 40, 50 miles per hour here, all on the front range of the Rockies. Um, Relative humidities and near and between 11 and 20%. So very dry. Okay. And so we go to day 3, which is Wednesday, right? Winds are still pretty high, although it's moving a little bit further to the east at this point and points to the south as well. But 30, 40 mile per hour winds blowing off the Rockies. The air sinks and dries and warms up. So temperatures in the 50s and 60s here. Okay. This threat goes further to the south here as colder air starts to push down from the north here with northerly winds, right? Humidity levels are drying out some, but we still have humidity levels are going up some, excuse me. But we have some drying still going on in Colorado here with winds off the Rockies, right? Then we get into Friday. Generally, relative humidity values are going up here, so the fire danger isn't nearly as high. But we have a continued fire danger, at least right along the front range here in the Denver area and points southward into Saturday. And going into Sunday, still humidity levels are 21 to 30%, which isn't very, very moist, right? So fire danger concerns are still pretty high out here through the period. So yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on this. This is not really talked about that much, but I think it's important to discuss. So rather than to focus on one area, I wanted to show you these graphics, the probabilities for snow, right, exceeding the warning criteria. So you see in the California mountains here, Sierra Nevada, and points to the north and to the east here are the areas that would exceed warning criteria, greater than 80% in the Sierra Nevada range here, and points to the northeast as well, and interspersed here. And this is for today, ending tomorrow at 12Z. And this is continuing into Tuesday. Tuesday into Wednesday. You see the far northern tier of the U.S. looks to be getting some impacts as well, interspersed in the near Mountain West. And then, let's see, day 3 here through Thursday, still a pretty impactful event. It looks like in the northern tier of the U.S. and out west as well in the higher terrain here. And we continue with this high terrain snowfall threat through Friday, right? So, and then for um, the 4 days ending 12Z on Friday, February 20th. So that's the whole time period here. So 24 hours and then 4 days. So that's a total um, like greater than 80% in the dark purples here. So you can see the east is pretty much void of any extreme weather as far as snowfall goes. So quite a switch from what it's been. And when we look at the total snowfall accumulation expected here, look here in the California, Sierra Nevada, 40, 50 inches of snow through Tuesday, right? If you look at this through Thursday, we're talking almost 100 inches of snow here in the California mountains. That's crazy, right? And most of this is expected to fall, continuous here, maybe less as we get towards the end of the period here, with more snowfall in the Intermountain West, and we have some snow up here in the northern tier of the U.S. and parts of the Northeast as well, because we're going to have a boundary setting up here that's going to bring heavy rainfall, heavy snow right along into the north of this boundary, right? But incredible snow totals here. It's just that's crazy, right? So um, good news, but this may be too much um, for the amount of time may lead to some avalanche risk here. I know people probably won't be up here in this highest terrain, but take a point forecast here. High end Huntington Lake, California, 109 inches. It's crazy. Like the whole probabilities are exceeding 100% almost. So yeah, so that's a lot. As far as ice goes, we do have the risk for some freezing rain up here in northern to the U.S. Mainly as we go towards the end of the week, the middle of the week, with this overrunning moisture, overrunning cold air up here, and maybe the highest totals here into Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, and parts of New York. But overall, centered here in the Midwest to northern high plains and into Canada, places like that. So if you're up in this area, be mindful of this time period. This forecast could change. See, at the beginning of this period, there's not much going on. But you see in this area, um, could be impactful travel conditions if this ends up happening this way. So we look at total precip. This is the total precip in liquid form, right? So through Tuesday, expecting a couple inches of, um, I don't know why that zoomed out, but a couple inches of rain here along the coast of California. And the snow, of course, we talked about in the higher terrain here, and different amounts, mostly snowfall and rainfall, depending where you're at here in the Intermountain West. Going through Tuesday, highest amounts. We have that excessive rainfall outlook for the southwest portion of the state at the beginning of this, but you can see highest amounts through Thursday in the highest terrain of California here, and up into northern high plains, upper Midwest, and along the East Coast, the Mid-Atlantic and East Coast here, right? With that overrunning event that's going to be occurring here. So initially we got a lot of focus on the West Coast with heavy snow and heavy rain, and then that shifts further to the north and east here because we get towards the end of this period. As far as risk of heavy precip and the extended 8 to 14-day hazards, expecting the moderate risk here along the West Coast, the Northwest Coast especially, 23rd to the 31st, and I talk about this in the long range forecast discussion. The 23rd through the 24th here, a little further south, and the 23rd through the 1st, slight risk further to the south as well. So the threat for heavy rainfall along the West Coast continues here. And in the Ohio Valley, Lower Mississippi Valley, Mid Mississippi Valley, slight risk as well here for heavy precip. Snowfall, highest risk of snowfall, of course, is out west here, Sierra, Cascades, and points further south through most of the period. Parts of the northern Intermountain West here, the 23rd to the 1st, and a slight risk here in the upper Midwest and parts of the northern high plains, the 25th to the 1st. High winds, of course, we talked about this. Slight risk here, the 23rd through the 1st, with a moderate risk right along the west coast during the same period, and also into parts of southern Alaska. Hazardous temperatures look to be the coldest here in Alaska during the period. So moderate risk of below normal temps and as far as southern Alaska, and slight risk further to the north during this period as well. As far as 6 to 14-day temperatures, what are we expecting? Well, along the East Coast, looking below normal or near normal, northern to the U.S. and out west. The central part of the country looking to be above, and then below normal here in most of Alaska, above in Hawaii, and a below to near to above normal Aleutian Island chain. As we get towards the first of the month, near normal temps persist along the eastern seaboard, the northern to the U.S. and out west, and a sliver of below normal here for northwestern U.S. as well. Above normal persists here with high pressure staying here in control, right? So in general, the central U.S. is going to be above normal at least till March, right? Till the 1st of March. Below normal temps still in Alaska, above in Hawaii, below to near normal to above, depending where you're at in the Aleutian Island chain. As far as precip goes, near normal chances of precip to maybe above here in Florida, below normal out west here, which was contributing to the fire danger risk. and above normal further out west and parts of the northern U.S., above to near normal to below, depending where you're at in Alaska, above to below to near normal Aleutian Island chain. We get towards the first part of March, we maintain near normal to above here in parts of Florida and below in the Midwest, not the Midwest, the plains and the Southwest. Above normal continues along the West Coast in the northern tier of the U.S., near normal to below in Alaska, near normal to below in the Aleutian Island chain, and above in the Hawaiian Islands. So, what's the pattern going to look like in the next several days? I am going to use this, the APHIS ensemble from the Tomerberg website to give you guys an overall view of what the thoughts are. This gives an overall view of the dominant precip type confidence in North America, right? So if we move it down to United States, okay, what do we know to start with? Well, we know this is loading, right? But 100% rainfall onshore here, snow in the Intermountain West. I mean, in the mountains of the West Coast here, right? Rainfall moves a little bit further to the north here. We get some snow in the higher terrain, the Cascades and Sierra Nevada. Snow and rain here as this low surface low develops and moves to the north. And then you have a boundary setting up here, generally here, right? And you have rain and snow, rain right here, snow just further to the north, and some icing in between. And we'll talk about that as well. The rain's just further to the north here on the northwest coastline, Intermountain West, getting some snow here. And we have a system developing Thursday into Friday, right, which could bring some severe weather to this area, right? Some snow on the backside of it, rainfall to the east, and a low, it wants to develop the low offshore here, although there's some uncertainty about that. And then we have a trough digging out in maybe digging to the south here, and you have some energy developing here, and maybe digging up to the northeast here, and colder temps, sea high pressure possibly moving in here in the south, moisture returning to the east, the west coast here. So the confidence when we get a little further than this is 8 days out. So this is where I'm going to stop it, where we have more onshore flow here on the west coast and relatively calm conditions with high pressure dominating to the east here. So what our temperature is going to look like? Well, we start off with really warm temperatures here, especially into Texas, up in the plains here. Very dry. Okay. Low pressure moving across the country here. We talked about that, dragging higher temperatures all the way up into parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Mississippi Valley here. Cold air pushing down behind it some. Okay. And then you have another low pressure developing on the lee side of the Rockies. And you see the warm temps ahead of this here. We could have record high temperatures here. This is Thursday. All in this area, 60s, 70s, 80s, nearing 100 degrees here into Mexico. Cold temps, at least according to these models, diving down to the east of the Rockies. You can see where the severe threat could be with this low pressure here and warm temps and dew points moving further to the north. Whether or not this low develops offshore is important, right? And you have this trough maybe digging in here, right? Still warm temps here into Alaska, not Alaska, Mexico. Cold air is bottled up to the north here, maybe pushing down as we get towards the 21st. Relatively mild, still 50s, 60s in the south here. Somewhat seasonable up to the north here. And then you see maybe a push of colder air and this low pressure maybe won't develop here, and we get more uncertain at this point. And maybe a warm up again out west here in Texas area. But we'll have to see about that. That's pretty far out. So yeah, so temperatures look to warm up quite a bit for a lot of the nation, then cool down, and then warm up again. So we're in this period where we're going to have these influxes of cold air and then warm up again. And this isn't really that unheard of, although it's a little bit early. Spring has come a little bit early for a lot of the country this week. So this is the temperature anomalies from normal, right? Between the two AI models. between the AIFS ensembles. So this combines them all. You see the anomalies are the greatest here, um, 30, 40 degrees above normal here, up into the Midwest, right? Out west, of course, cooler than normal. The warmer than normal temps push further to the east here. You can see cooler than normal temps pool up here to the north, and maybe cooler than normal for the good portion of the eastern U.S. and warming up in the Intermountain West again a little bit. And then as the system develops off the East Coast, um, we get some cooler than normal temps again, and possible beginning of some warmer temps again in the deep south when we get towards the end of the month. So let's just take this a little bit further out and see what this shows. It shows a push of colder air, and this is where the model run ends. So let's look at 500 millibar heights real quick. This is loading. It takes a little bit to load sometimes. Come on, baby, load. All right, so I had to stop the video for a second. Sea heights are highest here in the middle part of the country, which is related to the warm temperatures, okay? See out west here, 500 millibar heights are lower, so that indicates lower pressure, right? Kind of pushes offshore a little bit, although it maintains. You see a high pressure down here at the mid-levels down in Mexico, which that's why it's so hot down there. Jeez. So flattens out some as we get towards the extended, but you get more uncertainty when you get further out with ensembles. So we'll keep an eye on this, but yeah, that's the forecast. That's a general idea of what's going to be happening. I hope you all got something out of this, and let me know if this is useful to you. Appreciate it, and have a great day.